If you clicked on this video, you most likely want to become a full-time content creator. And as much as you want to become a full-time content creator, the problem is that either A, you're in school, or B, you're working a part-time or full-time job to make ends meet. And you're really struggling with how to find the time or energy to create content while doing your everyday studies or job. It's this tension between time versus money. You need to make content, but at the same time, you need money to pay the bills. And until you can make money from content creation, you're gonna have to keep your day job. I know the struggle, I've been there, and that's why in this video, I wanna share my journey of how I became a full-time content creator, and as well share my content creation workflow in order for you guys to become as well full-time content creators. So if you wanna become a full-time content creator, there's two approaches. The first approach is the all-in method. Now this is when you quit your job and you decide, I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna become a full-time content creator. And this is possible for those people who maybe have 6 to 12 months savings in their bank, meaning they can quit their job, live off of that money for half a year to a year, or they're maybe single, living at home with very little expenses, meaning it's possible to have that freedom to just go for it. If you yourself are in that situation, I would highly recommend then going for it. Just going all in and making this dream of becoming a full-time content creator a reality. The chances of you growing your audience and succeeding is a lot higher, but of course there is that pressure of you succeeding because you've gone all in. The second approach to becoming a full-time content creator is the steady Eddy method. Now this is for those people who don't have a lot of savings, or they have people who they're responsible providing for financially, which means you can't just quit your job and become a full-time content creator. You're gonna have to keep working your job while creating content on the side and gradually growing your audience. Now the pros of this method is that there's less pressure on you financially because you still have your full-time job, but the cons is that there's gonna be a season where you're gonna have to work extra hard because not only are you gonna have to be going to your day job, but as well you're gonna have to create content on the side. And as well, the growth is often a lot slower than the all-in method. When it comes down to choosing which approach you're gonna take, it's important to recognize which life season you're in and make the responsible decision. I do not want any dads or moms quitting their jobs and then their kids not having food to eat. So keep your jobs, but create content on the side. My story is that I started my own YouTube channel back in 2018. And back then I was a full-time wedding photographer, videographer, and I was studying all at the same time. So it was definitely the second approach for me. I was doing that steady Eddy method where I was working hard, studying, and then in my free time, I was creating content for my channel. In the beginning, my goal was to create one YouTube video every single week. And I remember after my first year of YouTube content creation, I counted how much money I made from all the content that I made. And I remember it being something like $20 a video, which was definitely not enough money to sustain myself financially. But fast forward to 2022, which was my first year of being a full-time content creator, and my business made over 200,000 euros, which was 3 times more than I ever made when I was doing weddings full-time, shooting around 30 to 4 weddings a year. So I guess I'm just trying to say, if you're willing to put in the hard work and keep building your audience, eventually you're gonna reach that tipping point and it's gonna pay off. It really is an investment of your time and energy in the beginning, but eventually it's gonna pay off and allow you to follow your dreams of being a full-time content creator. So how was I able to pull off creating one long-form video every single week while on top of that shooting weddings and studying in school? Well, I think it comes down to my content creation workflow that I had built. Now, most people, when they create content, they start off by first brainstorming an idea. Then from there, they might script that idea. Then they go film the video. Then they start editing it. Then they figure out all of a sudden, oh shoot, I need a title and a thumbnail. They quickly try to get that created, and then they upload the video, post it, see how many views they get, look at the comments, and then start that process all over again. This whole workflow is really tedious because it takes a whole lot of energy to go from one task to the next. You have to get into a totally different mindset and focus for each stage of the process. As well, it just takes a whole bunch of time to practically set up your camera and your lights and the audio and all the technical side of creating content. So instead of doing this whole process all for just one piece of content, instead I group all the different steps into sessions. So step 1 is ideation. On Monday, when I sit down at the desk, I come up with a whole bunch of ideas for long form videos and short form content. And the way I come up with ideas is by having different themes. So for example, my channel's purpose is to help beginner content creators. And for that, I have different categories that I think would provide value for them. For example, gear reviews, photo and video tutorials, business strategy videos, or just motivational content. So if my goal is to make 8 long form videos in a month, I come up with 2 different videos for each category. And as I'm coming up with ideas, I just drop the ideas into the category buckets. And when I have 8 solid ideas, I'm ready for long form content. Then from there, I think of all the different long form content I'm gonna make, and I figure out what kind of short form content can I make from those long form videos. For example, if I did a review of the DJI Mini 4 Pro drone, then I would figure out what kind of short form pieces could I make from that drone. Maybe it's an unboxing video, maybe it's the best camera settings for the DJI Mini 4 Pro, maybe it's test footage from the drone, all sorts of different short form content pieces that I can create that already come from the long form video. Once I have all the ideas ready for my long form videos and short form videos for that month, then I go to stage 2, which is preparing the titles and thumbnails for the long form video. Now in the beginning, I never did this. I would, come up with a video idea, film it, edit it, and then all of a sudden I'd be like, oh shoot, I need to come up with a thumbnail and title for the video, which was a terrible idea because there's no point in spending hours creating this long form video and then just quickly rushing the title and thumbnail, which is the 2 things that make people click and watch your video. The title and thumbnail is like the DVD cover of the Blockbuster days. You'd walk into Blockbuster wanting to rent a DVD and you'd base it based on the title and what the front cover looks like. And that's the same with YouTube videos. You want a thumbnail that's eye-catching and relevant to your audience and a title that's gonna draw them in. As content creators, we're creating content for free, but it's not necessarily free in all ways. Sure, we don't charge money for people to watch our YouTube videos, but it does cost them their attention and their time, which is a really valuable resource, and a lot of people are competing for it all at the same time. So you wanna make sure you have an eye-catching title and thumbnail to draw the person to wanna watch your video, but as well, you wanna follow through with what you're promising in the title and thumbnail so that your audience is satisfied with the content. Because there's nothing worse than being clickbaited into a video and then just be totally disappointed with what you watched. Most likely they're not gonna come back and watch your content in the future. Once I've got my ideas, the title and thumbnail, then it's time to script. Personally, I find getting into the mode of scripting really hard, but once I get in that flow state, it's really easy to just whip out multiple scripts for long form videos in one sitting. Oftentimes it takes about 30 minutes to write one script for a long form video, and then for a reel or short form content, maybe 10-15 minutes. So instead of just writing one script and stopping, I instead like to write a whole bunch of scripts because I find that it saves me a whole bunch of energy rather than switching from different tasks all the time. Stage 4 in my content creation process is filming. When I film, I want to film as much possible in one sitting because like I said earlier, it takes a whole bunch of time and energy to set up the camera, tripod, the audio, the lighting, and everything. So instead of doing that every single time all over again for a new video, I like to try to film as much as possible in one sitting. So when it comes to my long form videos, I want to film as many long form talking head videos like this in one go, get them all over and done with, and then from there I think of what kind of B-roll supportive content I need to convey my message. Little life hack, if you want people to think you're filming on multiple days and it's high production value, just bring different clothes and change it up. That way people feel like you filmed throughout the month. I personally wear black shirt, beanie all the time, and I like that because then people recognize me when they see my videos pop up. To each their own, but that's the way I do it. I find when it comes to filming that the setup is often 2/3 of the energy used and then 1/3 is the filming process. So it's a lot more efficient to do it all in one chunk. Step number 5 is editing. And again, I like to do this in sessions. When it comes to, for example, editing my short form content, I want to edit 5 to 10 reels in one sitting rather than every day doing a little bit of editing, because I find that you just get in the editing workflow, and as well, it's really easy once you edit one reel to copy the same color grade, the same audio presets, a lot of the same effects into the next reel, because oftentimes it's been filmed in the same scene, the same settings, so you can just copy them from one reel to the next. This again is another one of those ways where you just save save so much energy. Rather than having to repeat and do the same thing each day, you can just copy and paste from one short form video to the next. And the last and final step is uploading. Once I have my short form videos and my long form videos created, then I upload them onto YouTube, all ready for me to post. I add the titles, the thumbnails, the tags below, the description, make sure everything's ready to just post and go, rather than doing that on the day of when I want to post. And this is the same for Reels on Instagram. I often like to upload them already onto my Instagram account, just save them as drafts, so when it's time to post, I'm just ready to go and I don't have to get my head into that mind space in that moment. Instead, they're all ready to go for the future. People often ask me what's the magic number of how much content you should post, and I always say post as much as possible in a way that's consistent and sustainable, because we don't want you to hustle really hard for 1 month and then you just burn out and stop. The name of the game when it comes to content creation is just lasting. This is gonna be a journey that you're on for years. So you wanna figure out a pace and a content posting schedule that fits the lifestyle that you're in. So if you can post 1 video a week consistently and in a healthy way, that's what you should do. But if you can post a reel every single day and 1 piece of long form video a week and still do it in a sustainable and healthy way, then by all means do that. Because obviously the more times that you post, the more chances there are of people finding your content and enjoying them and becoming a part of your audience. I often say that the more times you post, it's like the more shots you take at a net, the more likely you're going to get a goal because you've taken a lot of shots. So the amount of content you do post does have an impact on your growth, but you gotta make sure that you're as well posting content with quality. Content that provides value to your audience, because there's no point in just posting a whole bunch of crap that people aren't gonna enjoy or get value from. So quantity is important, but make sure what you post has quality because you wanna be providing value to your audience. So that is my content creation workflow in a nutshell. In no means is it easy. It still requires a lot of hard work, and I don't wanna lie to you guys saying that this journey of becoming a full-time content creator is easy, but it is worth it. In the beginning, it definitely is a tug of war between time and money, but eventually, if you keep working and growing your audience, you're gonna get there and become a full-time content creator.